All right. One tip for instant panic attack relief is what this video is about. That's a picture of me. My name's Matt, and that's my dog Nico. And recently made a new website called anxietydisorder.com. And before we get into this particular teaching, just want to give you that reference in case you want more free tips and information similar to what I'm about to give you on how to beat anxiety disorders. Okay, I suffered with these for a long time and been through many panic attacks and anxiety attacks and all that. So I have a lot of free info at that site that I want to offer you. Also, I do sell some very good self-help programs that I review and determine whether or not I want to sell them, and I sell very affordable and effective ones. Over the past 10 years, I've literally spent thousands of dollars on stuff from Tony Robbins, Lucinda Bassett, Wayne Dyer, Carolyn Mace, et cetera, Deepak Chopra, and a lot of those people. So I've been, really learned a lot, in the self-help movement, so to speak, and I think I can really sift through the best programs out there that are the most affordable to you. Okay, so let's get into the teaching now. It's one tip for instant panic attack relief, and I call this here the power of self-talk. And really, the whole video here is going to be about what do you say to yourself in your mind chatter, or that inaudible voice in your head. What is it saying, and basically what it needs to be doing in order for you to eventually eliminate your panic attacks. At the very least, start to feel some relief much quicker, and that's what I'm going to get into right now. So let's look at the first thing here. What is self-talk? Like I said, it's really that inaudible voice in your head. For example, what if, let's just pretend you're preparing for a presentation at work, and you might be worrying in your own mind with your own self-talk, saying things to yourself like, well, what if I forget what to say? Or what if I stumble over my words? Or what if I embarrass myself? And all that stuff continues to build and build and build, and if you keep going and it's that intense for you, it's going to whip yourself into a frenzy and eventually possibly into a panic attack, if not just some severe anxiety. So basically, if you start to notice in your own mind what you're thinking, you're going to eventually see that this negative and worrisome type self-talk is incredibly toxic. And like I said, it's going to be it's what starts slowly, but eventually, like I said, you whip yourself into a frenzy, and the next thing you know, you feel that extreme terror and panic. Okay, so what do? You gotta stop. Okay, you gotta stop that kind of talk, and that's what I'm gonna get into. Breathing is huge too with panic attacks. Obviously, especially when you're in them. This video is not about that, but I'll get more into that in another video. However, I will say what I'm talking about right now, the self-talk, is really the long-term solution to this, because I haven't had a panic attack in probably 5 years, and I attribute it 100% to I know how to talk to myself in my own mind now. Okay, I know how to calm myself down. Okay, and I'm able to identify my anxious triggers. Okay, so I would call this the long-term solution and the more essential skill. Although, if you're in a panic attack, during the panic attack, the breathing is crucial as well, okay? And you got to learn how to slow it down, okay? Because you're hyperventilating. Now, the key thing you got to understand, and if you've had a panic attack, you'll know, is that your panic will eventually subside. The human body can just not go on with a perpetual panic attack, okay? And as I said before, those negative and worrisome self-talk, that chatter in your mind, are the huge contributors to how long and how intense your panic attack is going to be, okay? So what are you going to do here to overcome it? Well, here's where the self-talk comes in, okay? You got to remind and reassure yourself with your own self-talk, okay? Positive, calming, and soothing. I don't know if you remember when you were a kid or not, but maybe you were just bent out of shape about something, and maybe you could talk to your mother or your father, brother or sister, whoever it was, and that person had the ability to really calm you down. That's a skill you got to learn for yourself, okay? And you got to learn how to have thoughts that are going to counteract those incessant, fearsome thoughts you're having. So, going back to that presentation example, okay? I'm sorry, I'm not there yet. I'm kind of losing my mind here. When when you're in a panic attack, that's what I wanted to talk about here. When you're in a panic attack, okay, and things are going, and you feel that terror, and it's just awful, and your heart's racing, and you feel like you're having a heart attack, you might feel like you're going insane, okay, but you gotta talk yourself down, so to speak, okay. So you might say to yourself, this sure is awful, but at least it's not going to last much longer, okay. And the more you think similar type thoughts, the truer it's going to become, okay. Think to yourself, I've been through this before and I'll get through it again, okay. And there's a really key point I want you to understand here, if you don't already know, and I hope you do know, and I want you to really internalize this, and I think it'll take away a lot of that fear you have during your panic attacks or even before they come, is you have to understand, this is true, I promise you, as terrifying as panic attacks are, they cannot harm you, okay. Now, I know they're very terrifying, okay? So with the exception of the terror and extreme discomfort you feel during the attack, other than that, whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, however long your attack might be, and I know it's awful, and it's terrible, I know. You feel like you're going to go insane, have a heart attack, etc. But they really have no long-term adverse effects against your overall health, okay? You're not going to go insane. You're just not, okay? It comes and it goes, okay? I know after my panic attacks, I used to get exhausted. You probably feel the same way. Again, the body cannot put up with a perpetual panic attack. So if you can understand that you're not going to die or you're not going to go crazy, just that fact alone is going to help you a lot in decreasing the intensity and duration of a panic attack. So message here, you do not need to fear a panic attack, okay? Because all your worst nightmares you have about that, about your panic attack and about the thoughts in it, are not going to harm you, okay? So let's get back to the self-talk issue again. Remember, the key here is positive, reassuring, soothing type self-talk, okay? So now is where I want to go back to that presentation example for work, right? So say you're whipping yourself into a frenzy the night before, okay, but let's assume you have done, adequate preparation, so you got to counteract all the worry, okay? So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, gee, what if I forget to say? What if I stumble over my words? So you got to catch yourself. That's what it's all about. Consciously aware of what you're thinking. Stop. Say, okay, but wait a minute. I prepared, so many hours for this presentation. I know I'm ready. Okay. And what if I stumble over my words? Well, what if I do? So what? Nobody's perfect. Even the best speakers in the world stumble over their words. I'm just going to recover and go on, and that's what you do. So you got to really diffuse what I call kind of those thought time bombs. Okay. And it takes practice. It really does. It takes a lot of practice. But the more you're cognizant of what you're thinking, the more you'll be able to interrupt that negative pattern that eventually whips you into a panic attack. So that's it right there. I kind of phrase this slide here as an if-then statement. If your self-talk is positive, calming, and reassuring, then I'm going to guarantee you your panic attack, the intensity and the length, they're going to decrease significantly. Okay? So that's really it right there. And like I said before, the breathing's a big part of it too. I will have something about that coming up pretty soon. But like I said, I would consider this the long-term solution to your panic attack problems. Okay? Again, being aware of what you're thinking, okay, and then intervening, okay, because you have the power to intervene to your programmed thoughts, so to speak, okay, your pre-programmed panic thoughts, okay. That's a cycle, and it eventually spins out of control, and that's when the terror comes in, and that's when all those nasty symptoms come in, okay, and things are awful. I know that, and it's terrible, but you can overcome it, okay. Like I said, I haven't had an attack in about 5 years, and I attribute it 100% to knowing how to talk with my own self-talk. So like I said earlier, I have made a website called anxietydisorder.com where I offer similar information to what I'm going over right now. And come on by. I think I have a lot to offer. I've been through a lot, and I've explored a lot, the whole self-help field. And in addition, if you want to look at a program to buy, it's definitely an option. But even without that, it's a good website to check out. So, all right, I'll see you again.